Hey, welcome back to We Die Like Men. I'm Mike. We're going to do a little bit different video today. As I've said in the past, this channel covers a lot of different topics, a lot of different stuff. Not every video will be for every person. It may not be their forte or their thing that they're interested in. So I hope this one is. As somebody who's into a wide variety of things, one of the things I enjoy is firearms. So we're going to do a little bit of discussion on that today. I've done a little here and there. I don't know how many of those videos are actually up yet. This is, what is it, July 22nd. Been a little still sporadic on video some, just, life getting in the way with stuff. So um, I did a video not too often. It's been maybe a couple months now on why I sometimes prefer revolvers over autoloaders under certain circumstances. But I did get a question by a friend of mine who said, "Well, what is it you like about specific types of revolvers and things?" And well, I have two very distinct styles of revolvers here. Two of mine that are here. In fact, the only two revolvers I currently own. I kind of thought I'd go over it. Maybe you don't know the big difference between the types. Maybe it's not your thing. Maybe you're just looking to learn. Maybe you know a lot more about them than I do. Doesn't take much. Sometimes I've been shooting 50 next month. I've been shooting firearms since I was about 5, 6, something like that. Um, my father was a firearms and hunter safety instructor for the state of Maine. Prior military. My grandfather was military. We all hunt. So I have instructed people on marksmanship and firearm safety as a scout leader and just in my civilian world. I did serve for a while in the military. So all the practices I'm doing here, I'm the only one in this room. None of the firearms are loaded. Uh, the only other thing in the room with me is my dog, who's way over there, kind of in that corner, sleeping. So all safe practices, everything is unloaded, everything's been verified. So if you don't know what you're doing, don't do what I do. So just to kind of bring up basics, this is the newer one I've just purchased. I really enjoy this one. This is a Taurus Tracker 627. It is, as I said, unloaded. It is a double action revolver. So for any of you who are not familiar with that, it is unloaded. Double action. You can pull the hammer back and the gun will go off, or you can just pull the trigger and it will go off. I do not dry fire them a lot. I do have snap caps for it, but I got them put away right now. Once in a while, according to Taurus, it doesn't hurt this. This is more of what like law enforcement used to carry. This is a lot of times what people will carry for either self-defense or self-defense against bear or wild hogs or something, because you can just pull the trigger like a semi-auto in that sense and shoot quicker. A more accurate shot is usually having the hammer pulled back. It's less of a trigger pull. Oh, that one slipped. That's why you don't do that with a loaded gun that way, especially while I'm trying to film and do everything. If the hammer's back and it's loaded and I want to lower the hammer down, safe position, get a firm grip. Just as soon as it moves, release the trigger. There's an internal safety mechanism that will then not let it go off like that. So 4-inch barrel, ported. If you can see, my camera's farther away from me than it may look sometimes. 4 ports down each side. Make sure I get that right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, this is 8 ports, 4 on each side. Sends a little bit of the gas up, keeps the barrel from doing this so much, makes the gun more straight back. There is some muzzle flip, barrel flip, but it's not bad. You get a good high grip on it. It's not bad. I have small hands for a guy. This is about as big a grip as I really like. Still lets me get a good grip on it though. Shoots very well. I carry this, or will carry this more when I'm hiking in the woods or spending time in the woods here in Maine, especially in the western mountains where bear and moose could be a potential issue. Haven't had a lot of issue. None really with bear, some with moose. And it's a kind of a last ditch. I don't want to shoot them if I don't have to. Even as a hunter, I'm not looking to just shoot them for the sake of shooting them. That's not my point. If I'm hunting, I may or may not carry this one. I like it because it's shorter. It's weight-wise, about the same as my other one I'm going to pull out. It's quicker and easier to reload. You reload these, either open it up and drop them in, one at a time, one round at a time, or speed loaders. Okay, those go in like that. You twist the knob, they all drop in. I'm not going to do it now because I don't want it loaded. And I carry 2 of those in a little pouch. That's a basic overview for those of you who aren't familiar. For those of you who are, I've owned several double action revolvers, primarily in 38 special. I've had a Smith & Wesson, I've had a Taurus, I have shot Rugers and Colts and all kinds of things. This one has been very smooth. It was a little stiff out of the box with the snap caps in it. In a safe environment, I just kind of sat there watching videos and cycling the hammer, pulling it through and through and through, and the pull got a little easier. This has a fairly heavy pull if you try to go slow. If you go quick, it's not bad. Its single action is quite nice. For a double action revolver, or one capable double action, a lot of times I find the single action is good, but not great on some of them. I have fired some older Colt Pythons. Anybody who knows what a Colt Python revolver is, they are especially the old one from the 80s, they were custom shop built by Colt. They were made, typically one person started from a raw block of metal, made the gun, polished the internals. These were master craftsmen gunsmiths that were building these. These were the best of the best. It would be like having, Formula One racing team, their engine builder, builds you your engine for your daily driver. It would be like having, I don't know, Michelangelo paint your picture for you. Those guys were the best of the best, men and women in there that were doing it. They were also incredibly expensive. Back in the 80s, those guns, I don't know, but let's say they were maybe $1,000 when you could have bought something like this for 120. That was the price difference. This handgun cost me about $500 at Cabela's 2 or 3 months ago. Kind of as a, Father's Day, happy 50th birthday for my wife. They had one. It was what I wanted. They had it in stock and it was on sale. So she bought it early for me. I bought it, but she said, I want you to have that. Let's get that for you for your birthday. So all comes out of the same account. So it doesn't really matter whose credit card it was. Or debit card. It was mine because I'm buying it. So the paperwork has to line up. Shoots very well. I have had a chance to get it out shooting. 38 specials through it. Man, there's like no recoil. The gun is heavy enough in the nose. And with that porting, 357 Magnums, even 158 grain, jacketed soft point, some pretty hot rounds. Wasn't that bad. I don't want to make a steady diet out of those at the range as far as 50 or 60 rounds of the heavy stuff, because over time it gets a little much. The 125 grain, fine. I could shoot them all day through this. Just a cheap leather holster off an Amazon. I say cheap, it was like $55, but it works. Hold on. Sorry about that. My daughter had to bring something back to me. She borrowed my Beats headphones, and I don't want those just laying around, even though I'm not super impressed with them. And they weren't the most expensive, but they certainly weren't the cheapest. Another topic. Not something I'm going to carry every day, but something that is very comfortable to carry. What little bit I have, and when I'm up in the western mountains of Maine and in the woods, and I want something a little more than just my standard 9mm I carry, it's a really good handgun for that. 7 shots, adjustable rear sights. It shoots phenomenally well. Right out of the box, I did a little adjustment on the sight. Shoots great. Now on to my other one. Got to have the cowboy rig because, it's an old style revolver. This is a Ruger Blackhawk new model. Single action only. You can pull that trigger all day long. The hammer's not coming back. You have to pull the hammer back. It's a clone copy, tribute to, whatever you want to call it, the old Colt single action army from the 1870s, I guess that was, 1880s, that range, um, made of newer materials, a much stronger material. They had to change these in the late 60s, early 70s. That's why this is a new model. The hammer is one thing that's different. Instead of having the firing pin spur off it, or have it just slam against the firing pin, like that one, there's a transfer bar safety. Pull the trigger a little, let it forward some, let go of the trigger. Now I can drop it, it's not going off. The old cowboy handguns, if you loaded 6 rounds and had your hammer like that, and that fell or something hit it, the gun could go off. Think of it sitting up on a horse and it falls out of your holster and lands down like that on the ground. That could shoot you, that could shoot your horse. You know, if it's on your hip and you fall off and that gets slammed, that bullet's going into your leg, or could potentially. So they had problems with that, liability reasons. They changed it, so now it's safe to have it down. That's one change. Obviously, metallurgy is different. Calibers, 357 Magnum and 38 Special didn't exist in the 1800s. 38 Special, I'm trying to remember when. That came out early 1900s, maybe very late 1800s. 357 Magnum's like 1929-ish that came out. So, but this gun is very close to that. These Ruger Blackhawks are available in multiple different calibers: 45 Colt, 30 carbine. They make bigger ones at a 44 mag and things like that. Those are usually the Red Hawks, if I'm not mistaken. 357, 38 Magnum. If you have a 357 Magnum, you can shoot 38 Special shells through it, rounds through it. Some of these exact guns have a cylinder that you can, let me kind of get this so I can do this. The cylinder comes out, okay? You can get one of these. It's chambered for 9mm. It's the way it holds the shell. There's no lip on the back of a 9mm. I did that, showed that in my video of why I like revolvers sometimes more. They just design it differently to hold it different. And you can shoot 9mm through it, because 357 Magnum and 38 Special and 9mm and 380 Auto have a nominal bullet diameter that's so close, 0.357 and 0.355 for 9mm and 380. The bore diameter is 0.350 on all of them. This is the one thing I don't like about it, is getting this to line up. There we go. Oh, helps if you push the right pin. That, by the way, is how you unload it. You have to pull back on this bar here, and it pushes the bar out, pushes the empty shell out, or a live shell out if you're unloading it. You reload this one round at a time, and then close the gate, and it's ready to go. This is a 6.5-inch barrel. When you measure on a barrel, it's from the forcing cone inside here to the end of the muzzle on a revolver. Some people argue differently, but according to Ruger and every manufacturer I've seen, that's how they measure their barrel. So 2.5 inches longer than this gives you a little more velocity, more time for the powder to burn. This gun is, I want to say weight-wise, I know it's in the holster, but not too far off in weight. The weight on this one, however, is more back here. The barrel's lighter, even though it's longer. Adjustable sights, nice fine sights on it. It shoots very well. It shoots very accurately. Because it's a single action only, I don't dry fire them very much, like I said. The trigger pull on these is, kind of helps if I have my finger in the right place, almost nothing. I'm going to say maybe 3 pounds worth of pressure, whereas the other one, even in single action, is still probably 6 pounds. That'll wear in more and get better. I could send it to a gunsmith and have them smooth things up and make it better, but it's fine for what I use it for. This is a great one to carry hunting. Longer barrel, little higher velocity, very accurate. shoots great. The grip angle's different. Some people don't care for that. Um, I have a set of the nice rubberized grips. I prefer the wood on these. This gun shoots amazing. And I love having it on my hip when I'm in the woods deer hunting. I have my rifle with me at that point that if a bear or a moose is a problem, I'm going to have my rifle with me to deal with. In fact, it's bear season at the same time deer season is in Maine. So I could just shoot the bear if it wasn't a problem. I don't really want to. I don't want to drag them out. I don't want to deal with it. So chances are I won't shoot a bear for the most part. I don't think I will. Um, but this is slow to reload. The one thing I really like about this handgun is the slow unload. Each kick them out and one shell at a time. It slows you down. It makes you stop and think when you're at the range target shooting. It just gets you into that position that mentally and kind of, get your breathing under control and just nice, steady, slow shots really helps get good accuracy with it. Obviously, these handguns were carried by people in the frontier, this single action army style revolver. You'll sometimes see them abbreviated as SAA, single action army, Colt, and other manufacturers that made them. They were their defensive handgun. Double action revolvers, while some existed, there were some top breaks and some others that were top breaks. The one that, if you watch the movies, it pivots this way and the shells eject. I'm drawing a blank on the name of them. Smith & Wesson made some. There were other companies that did. Those existed. They were a lot more money. This was the primary thing. If everybody's got that style, it's not as bad. But you got that style versus a double action revolver versus a semi-auto. You're a bit outgunned with that as far as being able to fire quickly. Speed is not everything when it comes to that. Accuracy is more important, typically. But if I was carrying it for bear protection and I shot and needed more than the 6 shots, now I'm in trouble because this takes a long time to unload and reload. And in that amount of time, a bear is going to get you. You're not outrunning one. I don't care how fast you think you are. You're not faster than the bear. That's the nice thing with this. Now it's one more shot than that, but even if it was only 6 shots instead of 7, speed loader, you can reload much quicker and you eject much quicker. So, you're done, you push and it kicks out your shells. Boom, they're out. Grab that, drop it in, twist, let the speed loader fall, close it. You're right back to 7 rounds. 6, 5, whatever your handgun holds. Revolvers can come in different capacities. I like the cartridge. I like 357 Magnum. It's a good, strong, powerful cartridge. Not the most powerful handgun in the world. Hasn't been for a long time. Was up until early 60s, maybe. The 44 Magnum, which is more powerful than this, didn't really become mainstream cartridge, I think, until sometime in the 60s that manufacturers were building handguns in it. You might have seen some one-off custom-made firearms for it through some custom manufacturers or just a custom gun shop that just made you a firearm. I'd have to look up and see exactly when 44 Mag came out. But prior to that, 357 Magnum was pretty much so the king of the hill in handgun cartridges. When the Dirty Harry movie came out, Clint Eastwood said 44 Magnum, the world's most powerful handgun. It wasn't by the time that movie come out. By that time, it had been eclipsed by the 454 Casal, however you wish to pronounce it. No matter which way I say it, there's always somebody in the crowd that tells me it's the opposite way, which is a more powerful handgun than 44 Magnum anyways. 454 is getting... It's not 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. It's not 460 Ruger power or 460 power. But it's closer to that than it is to this. but I don't always need that. They're black bear here in Maine. I'm not dealing with, 1,000-pound grizzly bear or whatever, or bigger. Ugh. Still warm, in case anyone's wondering. Very humid and in the 80s today. So that's why I always drink a lot of, I don't drink a lot of alcohol, water and things like that. I drink a tremendous amount. Get kidney stones a few times and you'll find out why. I bought this gun belt rig because I thought it looked cool. This was cheap. It was like $130 on Amazon. It's got the places for the cartridges. I found not to store them in there because they tend to corrode a little bit with the moisture up against the leather. And I wasn't too worried about the shell casings as I am the leather. I have another holster that's put away that if I'm out going to carry this one while I'm deer hunting, it's just a nylon kind of version like this that's a little bit bigger, and it's a nylon holster and it goes on my belt. I like having a handgun with me when I deer hunt. There's times when I did that with that one. I shot a deer, got up to it. It probably wasn't still alive. It twitched a few times. It may just have been the nervous system. I finished it with a Magnum just to be sure. I didn't want the deer to suffer any. So upon me gutting the deer out, I discovered that most likely it was not alive. Most likely it never heard the rifle go off. I shot that deer from like 45 feet away. So just happened to be standing there. The old single actions are just fun. They really are. They kind of connect you back with what revolvers used to be. The double actions are fun too. They show you what revolvers can be. Law enforcement carried revolvers up until the mid 80s for most departments. There's obviously variations. When I was with the fire department and working as a dispatcher, even into the 90s, we had our superior officer, kind of our chief of police. They just didn't use that term in our department for some reason. He carried a 357 Magnum Colt double action revolver, their Peacemaker, I think it was, or I can't remember the exact model, but he carried a revolver because he liked it. He was an older gentleman. When he started in law enforcement, that's what they had. Now, later on, he did switch to a semi-auto. I don't remember whether he went Glock or what he went with, but also being a rural department, having the 357 Magnum, they would have to put deer and moose down that got hit by a car. That's better than your 9mm for that. It just works better. It's more efficient and more humane on the animal. So that's one reason he liked carrying it. I mean, like I said, small rural department. Also, though, you're dealing with people that sometimes are wearing very thick, heavy clothing, leather snowmobile jackets that are insulated, things like that. The Magnum is sometimes a better cartridge for law enforcement at that point. And that's just what he liked. The younger guys were pretty much all autoloaders. Autoloaders became more mainstream after a very important incident that took place in, excuse me, I just noticed that my light was turned wrong. Miami-Dade County in about 1986, I guess it was, an FBI shootout. There's videos you can go to on that. I believe I go into some details on that in my other handgun revolver video. I didn't show any firearms in that video, but here I figured I would. I said, buddy of mine said, he'd watched the video and he's like, what is it about your two? He knew what I had. He goes, what is it you like more one over the other? Why not just stick one or the other? To me, they're different usage, and I like firearms. I like collecting them. I like having different designs. While they're the same lineage, as they're both revolvers, they're quite different in their approach to it. That's my take on it. You guys, if you're into firearms and into revolvers, you have your reason why you like a particular brand, caliber, or design, double action, single action. What do you prefer? What calibers do you prefer? What do you look for in a revolver to say, this is what I want? For those of you who may have never held or fired a revolver, maybe it gives you a little idea on the differences and why I like one over the other. The double action, which is a double/single action, sometimes abbreviated DA/SA, because you can pull the hammer back and shoot it single action, or just keep pulling the trigger and you have double action. Better as a self-defense firearm, be it two-legged or four-legged or whatever critters, or a crocodile. Well, they have four legs too, I guess, but things like that. That's, to me, because you can get rounds off faster, you can reload faster. The 357 Magnum cartridge is a very good cartridge for that. If I was in grizzly bear, brown bear, Kodiak, brown bear, grizzly bear, I said grizzly bear, I meant polar bear country, I'm taking something more than the 357 Magnum. While it would do the job, it may not do it fast enough to keep them from getting me. There I want 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum, 460, 454, even 44 mag is probably not my favorite choice for them. If you're looking more of the cowboy action shooting, if you're looking more towards not so much self-defense, but precision, or a good hunting one that gives you a really nice, clean, accurate single action shot, the single actions are great. And here's something. Ruger does not, to my knowledge, make this handgun anymore. So this one is a Taurus, considered a lot less expensive version. I've had good luck with Tauruses over the years, in their revolvers anyways. So I don't mind buying them. But that one, again, on sale was like I wish it was like $525 or something like that. These, you can buy a really nice used one of these in 357 Magnum with the 9mm cylinder. It has to have come from the factory with it, or you have to send it to the factory to have them timed. So when you pull the hammer back and it spins, the bullet lines up directly with the barrel. You can't just say, oh, there's a 9mm cylinder for one of these, slap it in and go. Chances are it's not perfectly timed. They're all a little different. Sometimes they'll be lucky and they will be. They have to be very precise. But you can buy those. God, I've seen them $350. I've seen them $400. I've seen them $299 with just the 38 Special 357 Magnum cylinders in good condition. This one happens to be in like excellent condition. Side note, this belonged to a brother-in-law of mine. This one was manufactured in the late 70s. I believe he got this as a gift somewheres around there. So it may have been brand new when he received this. He didn't shoot it hardly ever. It was from a previous marriage. He was quite a bit older than my sister that he was married to. And sadly, he's passed. My sister had it, and she's like, I don't know what to do with it. And I said, I would really like to own one. My father had one of these with the 9mm cylinder, and he sold it on me. I wasn't using it. I got rid of it and didn't tell me. I would have paid him for it, but it's kind of how he was. But I wanted one, and the fact that it belonged to my brother-in-law, my late brother-in-law, means a lot to me. So I will not be getting rid of this. It came in the original box, the cardboard box that he shipped in. I have that put away. Came with the paperwork and everything, including, if I'm not mistaken, I think the bill of sale might have been in there, the little handwritten bill of sale, but I don't think you could read it anymore. I think the ink had kind of, faded enough you couldn't. But these are great. I love the Ruger Blackhawks. These are built like a tank, by the way. Incredibly robust. Very, very strong. Can handle some pretty hot loads. In other words, higher chamber pressures, more gunpowder than a lot of others. The reloading book even has a little designation for these. So, good handgun. Not super expensive. And if you're looking for something more nostalgic, they're great to go with. If you want something a little more modern, double action. If you're going to stick with revolvers. Nothing saying you have to. Nothing saying you have to own a gun. If you don't want to own one, don't. I'm a firm believer in it. And, you know, so that's kind of it on my revolver thing. That's why I prefer certain one style over the next. Like I said, I put up a video why I prefer revolvers sometimes over autoloaders. Spoiler alert, I carry an autoloader every day, basically. I carry a revolver on certain occasions. You know? It's kind of like I've got sneakers that I wear every day, but I got a nice pair of dress shoes for certain occasions. That kind of thing. I'm wearing kind of a crappy t-shirt that I sprinkled bleach all over cleaning. That's what all the little white stuff is. So I'm not here as a fashionista or a fashion model. So don't expect it. All right. Take it easy. Until next time, behave, do what you can, and get out there and enjoy life. All right. See ya.